Hi, I'm Jeff Dixon, and welcome to Seriously, where we turn back the pages of history just a little bit and share something with you that maybe you just didn't know. So much so that you're going to go, seriously? And the answer is yes. But then we're going to discover something about our own life and our walk with Christ in the midst of learning from history once again. Chester Carlson desperately wanted to invent something. Instead, the Caltech grad was stuck working in the patent department of a law firm. He hated it. He spent hours making the list of possible inventions, including a toothbrush with replaceable bristles and an improved cap for soda bottles. And all the time, the answer, the inspiration that he needed was sitting right there in his office. See, patent applications required numerous exact copies of technical drawings, each of which had to be made by hand. It was especially difficult for Carlson because he had arthritis. And as he's writing there one day and he's copying and he's dreaming about being an inventor, he's writing, and in the pain of writing and copying something, he thought how wonderful it would be to have a magic box that would let you push a button and get an exact copy of whatever it is you're trying to copy. You probably already figured out where this is going, haven't you? Because he set out to come up with such a device. He set out to create a magic box. And even though he was working full-time and going to law school at night, he turned his kitchen into a laboratory and used every spare hour for experimentation. His chemicals caught fire on the stove and sent foul-smelling smoke throughout his apartment. But he did not quit, even though they threatened to throw him out of his apartment. In 1938, he and an assistant made their first successful copy. Carlson then took his idea to IBM, GE, and others. And you know what they said? We're not interested. Now, can you imagine that? Someone walking in the door with a magic box that would copy whatever piece of paper you put onto it and having all of these big companies say, we're not interested. After that, his assistant quit. He was so obsessed with getting this idea sold that his wife left him because he wouldn't give it up. Finally, the Hallway Company of Rochester, New York, took a gamble on his idea. And so they began pouring millions of dollars toward the research and development of taking his idea and making it into a workable and a machine that could be distributed. Needing a catchy name for the process, Hallway took the Greek words Xerox, which means dry, and graphos for writing, to make a new word, xerography, which was eventually shortened to what we know today as Xerox. That's right, Xerox. He made the Xerox machine. He became a multimillionaire. When his second wife asked him if there was anything else he wanted, he told her, yeah, I'd like to die a poor man. And then he proceeded to spend the rest of his life giving away all of the millions that he made on the invention that he had worked and slaved over that had cost him so much to begin with. He gave away over $100 million to charity before he finally died. Finally, the magic box made it to the market. And the first magic box that was released, it took a whopping 45 seconds to make a copy. That's slow compared to what we get copies for today. But after another decade of tinkering, he came out with a model number 914. And by 1959, Xerox machines were not only a hit, they were essential in every office building, including the office building that he had been working in when he created it. So think about this. He created something that really revolutionized the way we do business. And people, leaders in business and industry said no. Seriously? I mean, why wouldn't they have jumped on that? The idea was born out of intense pain in his hands because he just couldn't bear the pain of writing another document and copying it again. And so that pain, instead of causing him to give up, it caused him to step back and say, seriously, there's got to be a better way. He came up with a better way. In the end of the day, he created a product that we've all been impacted by, something that we've all used, and something that we've all grown to depend upon in whatever walk of life we come from. Copy machine. The real name, the original, Xerox. See, in your life, there's a couple of spiritual ties that can be made to this. One is that you are to be more like Christ. And so you will never be the original because Jesus is Jesus. But what you do is you live every day of your life and you become a little bit more like him. So you begin to look a lot more like Jesus. That's powerful stuff. And so there's a whole Xerox element to your faith. But then beyond that, think of that. Here's an inventor who allowed his pain not to cause him to quit, but instead cause him to create. Perhaps the stuff that you struggle with might be the very thing that God is wanting to use in your life to inspire you to create something brand new or to find a new method. When he was rejected, unlike his assistant who quit, unlike his first wife who quit, he didn't quit. And in the face of rejection, when everyone around you is saying, no, 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 it won't work, if there's an idea that you believe in, and more importantly, an idea that God has laid on your heart, you need to keep chasing it because you never know what's going to happen with it. And at the end of the day, the trusteeship, the stewardship this guy shows, after he had created the magic box, the invention of a lifetime that made him wealthy beyond anything he ever could have imagined, his goal changed not to make more money, as it happens with many people who worship at the altar of money. But then his goal, his new dream became to give it all away, and so he would die a poor man. Now, I'm sure his second wife didn't like that very well, and I'm sure if you go back and look at the history books, there was enough for her to be taken care of. But at the end of the day, you heard the results. He gave away a ton, and he used that as a focus of his life. Why? Because it was never about the money. It was about the call that he felt in his life to invent that was driven through pain, rejection, necessity. And then when he achieved what it was that he wanted to do, he used it and leveraged it to do good for others. Wow. Who knew? Next time that you step up to a Xerox machine and make a copy, that you're really going through some spiritual stories that really resonate with each one of us. So, next time you see someone making a copy, you can go, hey, can I tell you a spiritual story about that? And they're going to go, seriously? I'm just making a copy. Oh, no, no, no. Now you know. And you can tell them a story that might just change their life. Seriously. I look forward to joining you next time.